Tanin Auto Electronics here. Today we're working on a 2003 and up Porsche Cayenne. This also applies to the Volkswagen Touareg. Now this specific cluster is the non-turbo, non-premium cluster. It has the monochromatic, amber-colored LCD in the center here. The turbo models and premium models have a color display that's much wider. That fills up this entire screen, has a lot of more information also. So the common problem obviously is the fading screen. Here you can see it's not even visible at all. Sometimes you can still see information on here. It's worse if you're in a hotter climate, but again, mileage will vary, and also the climate that the vehicle is primarily in. So we'll show you how to remove this cluster, but also we do repair the PCM units on the Porsche Cayenne and Mercedes. A lot of times these screens will go bad. They'll have lines on the bottom, or they'll be all white, or if you push on the screen, it'll bring it back to life if there's no video. So we can repair this too if you want to stick with your stock head unit. But for today, we'll be working on the cluster. So to make this video a little bit quicker, it's already disassembled. You want to make sure always the wheel is in the lowest position, so you have full accessibility to everything here. There we go. So one of the first steps is to remove this vent. There's two prongs on the right side that clip it into the trim panel. So once that's pulled out, that's where I start. You can start wherever you want, but that's easiest for me. So you'll need a flathead screwdriver or a flat trim tool to not damage the surface of the soft dash here. You also need a T20 Torx bit. Something like this on a hand tool works fine to get all the screws out. T20. So once this is out, you'll find one T20 screw in here, and then there's several more. There's one here, there's one here, and on the other side, I believe there's two more right here. Now before you unscrew those, you're going to have these trim panels sitting here. These pop straight out. They just have little plastic clips on the back, and then they pop straight out so you can access the screws. Same on this side. It's just popped into the dash assembly, so you need a flat tool to work it out of there, and it'll pop straight out. Secondly, around the ignition cylinder here, there's like a washer or a lock nut, if you will. This basically just screws around the cylinder. If this wasn't here, this lock cylinder would basically fall out. So this secures the cylinder to the dash. And I think they make a special tool for this, but you can use basically a flathead screwdriver, and then just, you can see the little tabs here, the indentations. You just push it counterclockwise and it unscrews like any nut. So once that's out of the way and these screws are out, this bottom trim panel will pop off, and that'll give you some more room to pull this off. This will just pop out of here. You don't need to remove it fully because it's attached to the column with this dust shield, this leather guard. So just enough, because this clips into the cluster. It's part of the trim around the cluster. So you pop it out of the cluster, and once that's done, you can access the T20 Torx bits here. There's one here. And at that point, you're almost done. Now, you're going to see the same on the top. It's just a trim piece that is actually locked into this top dash portion. So it pushes into these two clips. So you pop this out of there, and then at that point you're left with something like this. Not exactly, but you get the idea. And there are the final two screws. There's one here, and then there's one right over here. So once you remove those, you can pop this out of the way, and there is a third screw, T20 screw in back. So you can get that out of the way, and once that's done, then this cluster, you can pull it straight out and then disconnect the connectors in back. These little handles, you just pull them up and they come straight out, and then the cluster is removed and you can send it on into us. So that's it. Just make sure you're not prying too hard, you don't break any plastic pieces. You can leave all this stuff kind of just hanging here in place, even this this wiring connector here, or whatever this is hooked onto the vent. You can leave it. You just need enough room to pull the cluster out of the dashboard. And then this, you don't have to disconnect any wiring other than the cluster. So please visit us, and if you have any questions about this or the repairs we perform, please let us know. Thanks for watching. And here you can see the final product. We always use the highest quality LCDs possible. These are going to be the closest match to OEM. And that's what it should look like when the repair is complete and it's installed back in the vehicle. Should not have any airbag lights or anything that does not disappear. Make sure not to start the car or turn the ignition to on with the cluster unplugged. A lot of times if you do that, problems can arise if the cluster is not plugged in and the vehicle is turned to the on position. So that's all we have. Hopefully we can earn your business and help your cluster look great again. And again, Tanin Auto Electronics, thanks for watching.